Sounds great. I know Danny's super excited to hear from me on this because we banter big time on this one. It's gonna be a glorious day. So I know I recognize pretty much all of you guys, but I haven't met some of you all before. But I hope to meet some of you guys in due times through conferences and different ways. So I'm just excited to be here and be able to talk on this. I know a lot of you guys knew that I came out and worked the California State Fair over in Sacramento, and it was a good time. I enjoyed being there and stuff like that. And I was trying to figure out a way to provide some sort of value to you guys that would be maybe a little bit different than what you guys have gotten in the past. And one of the things after me and Denise were talking about it was just learning how to sell the pots and pans. But it's not going to be one of those things where it's like, hey guys, this is all the ins and outs of pots and pans, front and back, sideways, and all that. This is actually just going to cover a handful of bullet points, but over the years, what I've noticed from learning from like Luciano and Brandon and some of these guys who are really good at selling cookware stuff and minimizing on their returns is the more I've learned, the less it needs to basically have this happen. And one of the things that I've heard from a number of you guys when I was working is when it comes to selling cookware, there seems to be different, I guess, types of, I don't know if struggles is the word, but just like a lack of maybe focus on the main points on what it means to take someone that comes up to the booth and picks the lid off the pan, or they pick up the fry pan, or they do the little flip egg thing and the bee building and all that stuff, and being able to convert those people that have interest into an actual order. And then the key part, obviously, we all know with cookware is that it's our highest return product out of anything we make by a mile. So learning how to minimize that stuff is obviously very key. And so I have a handful of bullet points I'm going to cover with you guys today. I think a lot of this is going to be reminders, but I think there's going to be a few nuggets for each of you guys that are going to be maybe different. And hopefully that it resonates with a lot of you guys for different things. And like I said, I appreciated coming out to Sacramento this year, and I'm just excited to give back and hopefully help with some CPO for you guys the rest of the year. So let's get into it. If you guys have questions, just ask at the end. So let's go ahead and get into it. I'm going to start with the elephant in the room. It's always fun when doing this with the cookware. Is my first bullet point I wrote down is, do you like/use the Cutco cookware yourself? And this is a question I'm sure you guys have been asked a lot, but I know there's a couple of people in this room or in this call right now that don't have our cookware outside of for our display, or even just simply don't use it at all. And it's really hard to sell me on it if you don't have it in your kitchen and if you don't use it on a regular basis, that you may not know how to actually use it in general. So if a customer comes up and asks you real questions before they invest $3,000 to $6,000 into a set of our pots and pans, that they can trust that you know what you're talking about. And that's big because it's our most expensive investment that people are going to make. And we all know there's a stigma around stainless steel pots and pans with a lot of families already. I am excited to see that. I don't know about you guys, but I've noticed the trend is heading towards stainless steel, like as a culture. Um, with the documentaries, people learning about coated pans and how bad they are for you and blah, blah, blah. So we need to strike the iron while it's hot. And that's actually, it wasn't a play on words. That's just really funny timing that came out that way. But learning how to strike the iron while it's hot, guys, and really maximizing the interest from people as well. Danny knows that he's one of the guys I'm talking about. It's great. So the idea is that when it comes down to liking and using our cookware, let's go and get into this first part. Number one, can you truly say that you know how to use our fry pans for eggs and meat without sticking? And what I mean by eggs is, can you do scrambled eggs and then they slide out of the pan? Can you do a fried egg? Because that's different. Can you do a fried egg and slide that out of the pan? Can you do a ribeye, like a semi-frozen ribeye, and still have it come out not maybe quite the same as cast iron, but still pretty close? And if the answer to any of that stuff is no, then I would highly recommend you putting it on your dinner list tonight. Go get a batch of eggs, go get a ribeye from the store, and start going through the trial and error of learning how to do this. The great thing is, guys, is that I didn't really start learning this stuff until 2020 because of everything was shutting down. So I had all the time in the world being at home. So I just forced myself to use the pans and just figure it out. And it actually didn't take me as long as I thought it was going to figure it out. No one can sell me off of our fry pans. It's the number one question we get in our sets, obviously. Everything else is pretty self-explanatory. But when people come up to the booth and they pick up the fry pan and the first question they ask is this nonstick or do things stick, or those types of questions that customers tend to lead the conversation with, I can confidently tell them like, hey, wheat's not technically nonstick, but you get the benefits without a lot of the downside. And I'm going to teach you guys a couple of one-liners today that are really important to do with your customers in the beginning part of the conversation to pique their interest to actually want to talk to you seriously about doing some pans. So we'll get into that here more in a minute. But with fried pans, knowing how to do eggs and ribeyes are key. With the saucepans, if you guys have ever eaten at my house and had Angie's cooking, I mean, Angie's like freaking awesome with a lot of stuff, but she can make the juiciest broccoli and carrots out of those saucepans that you probably have ever had. Those things are awesome. And Angie's done a great job learning how to do that. And she's taught me a lot of stuff too. But can you actually make really juicy, flavorful, colorful bowls in the saucepans without boiling it in hot water? And if the answer is no to that, then I would also put that on your list to be able to start going through the kinks and learning how to do that. So one of the things I want to make sure to bring up here, and again, just so I kind of have a gauge of the room here real quick, by a show of hands, who here, if there was $1,000 on the line, could confidently do a scrambled egg in one of our fry pans and have it literally slide out of the pan afterwards without anything sticking? That's good. That's better than what I thought it was going to be. Because most of the time when I ask that question, it's like half and half, or sometimes very, very little at all. So I don't know how you guys do the pans, but I'll teach you guys exactly what I tell my customers. And this is going to contradict probably a lot of the things that we've been taught over the years, but this is what works for me. Guys, I've had an electric stove and a gas stove and all that good stuff, and I've done this on both of them and it works fine. When I'm doing an egg, if you want to explain this to your customer to keep it as simple as possible, this is what I do. Whenever I'm explaining doing eggs and everything to them, I tell them a couple of simple points. Number one, whenever you're doing eggs, Mrs. Jones, first thing you always do is I just gather my ingredients. And this is me telling a story. Like what I do when I do eggs, I do scrambled eggs multiple times a week in the morning. I get 3 or 4 eggs. I get my butter. I get my whatever. I put all of that together into a little bowl. I get it all ready to go. It's everything all the way up to the point before I pour it in. And then for me, all I do is I treat it like a grill. Mrs. Jones, like you wouldn't put a cold chicken on a cold grill. That wouldn't make a lot of sense. And you'll get a lot of head nods from that. Like they understand that concept. It's the same thing with our pans. You want to preheat them before you use them. You wouldn't put eggs into a cold skillet. Doesn't make sense. So all I do is I preheat everything on high. And by the way, this is where the contradicting comes in, but it works for me. Is like, hey, I preheat everything on high. If you have an electric stove, use a 9. If you have a gas stove, I use high, like I do. I preheat it. It gets really hot really fast. Now here's the key is I preheat it. I throw the butter in while it's preheating and the butter will literally melt as it's heating up. Or for you guys that want to use oil, we also have high smoke point oil. This is me talking to you guys here right now is high smoke point oil using the algae oil. Have you guys ever used algae oil before? Okay. So there is a guy that I recommend following on Instagram. He's called Steel Pan Guy. He doesn't use our pans, but he uses a lot of stainless steel, and I've learned a lot of stuff from him. So find him on Instagram, social media, whatever, Steel Pan Guy. And he just has endless videos of how to do everything in stainless steel. And I learned about algae oil from him, and we bought it ourselves off Amazon. It works awesome. So if you want an alternative to butter, that works really good too. So point being, I teach customers to preheat the pan, and right as you turn on high heat, you throw the butter or the oil in there right away, and then it's going to melt. It's going to heat up with the pan as it goes. And if you're using scrambled eggs, you can use a rubber spatula. That's what I do for scrambled, easier. And then for fried eggs, I actually use the turn and serve from Cutco as well. So I'm not one of those guys who's a homer where it's like Cutco's the end all be all no matter what. If there's a better alternative solution, I'm going to recommend it. And I think customers appreciate that. Okay. So that's just for me. After you cook them for 1 to 2 minutes, they should slide out of the pan with no sticking and very minimal cleanup. So that's a lot of the explanation part that I'm just giving for y'all. So I know a lot of us have been taught like do low heat, do medium heat, do this and that and the other. For me, I figured out how to do it on high heat, and I really like doing it that way. I teach my customers, and like Denise said, I haven't had a return cookware order in almost 3 years. And I sell a lot of fry pan sets, like a lot of fry pan sets. And so, anyways, just food for thought on that one. So, second thing here, let's go to another bullet point. This is something I want to ask all of you guys too, is really truly audit your script here. Because here's what I noticed with a lot of CSPs. when I work in different areas, which isn't all the time, but there's a handful of times throughout the years where I work in different areas. And I noticed it at the California State Fair, but I also noticed in a lot of other places too. Like this is very normal, is that we get scripty. And what I mean by that is we talk too much. We over explain how simple it is to use the pans. And what that tends to do is make the customer feel like they have to change their way of cooking. And that's not the mindset we want them in. If they feel like it's going to be a chore to do anything with cooking or cleaning process, it's going to discourage them even more than to invest the two, three, four, $6,000 into a cookware set. I know most of you guys probably know that, but it's a good, strong reminder. You have to make sure by the time you finish your script, it should take maybe 30 seconds to do your intro total, and then you should go right into closing. So I'm going to do my 30-second intro here that I learned from Luciano a couple years ago that I really, really like here in a second. And if you guys just copy that word for word and just use that as your 30-second script on the pans, you'll be blown away how many customers immediately move themselves into, so how much is a set? Can I buy it in pieces? Like they start asking all the right questions. And the funny thing is they don't even know how to use all this stuff yet. I save that for the end, which that's one of my last bullet points, which I'll cover you guys here in just a few. Okay. So let's talk about Luciano's power intro. Now, before I recite the script here for you, here's some things that Luciano talked to me about. Luciano told me, I assume you guys all know who Luciano Pataki is, but really great rep, sells over $500,000 a year, like one of the strongest average orders in the game. Like the guy's so good at selling big orders and package deals, it's crazy. And I will always remember this story because he was with Seth Kinzer at the time when I was eating with him. And Seth said, I fucking hate working with Luciano because he sells so much cookware. He doesn't even explain how to use it until the very end when they walk away. And Luciano just laughs and he goes, because that's all you need to do. And Seth is one of the best people in the business. So if I can hear that from Seth and Lush, I did it for my business and it's worked out well so far. So here's the point. With this power intro, you're going to notice a couple things. Number one, you're selling the benefits, not the features. It's just like that's a sales skill in general. Sell the benefits, not the features. It's like flatware. You sell them mostly on the benefits, not the features. The features are a bonus, but the benefits are what sell it. So features for cookware is doing names and uses. You don't need to do names and uses for the pots and pans to sell the pots and pans. It's like selling a homemaker. You don't need to do the names and uses of the homemaker to sell a homemaker. You don't need to know the ins and outs. By the way, if you were to grill me on my names and uses of the pan or like on the cookware, I'm literally one of the worst people at that. I don't know how to do corn on the cob. I don't know how to do all this chili stuff. I don't know how to do all those other things. But I sell cookware regardless because I focus on the benefits. Other features are stacking. Guys, the word stacking should never be in your script because it's just extra words. It's a cool feature. People are always going to respond positively like, oh yeah, that's cool. But that's not what's going to get them to pull the trigger to invest thousands of dollars. So what you want to do is try to really audit your script on your pans and really just be like, hey, what's the stuff that matters and what are the stuff that doesn't? And the stuff that matters is benefits. What doesn't matter is features. So take out stacking, take out waterless, take out all these extra little steps that are just not needed for the extra word stuff and just keep it to less is more status. Oh, and hopefully that kind of all makes sense for you guys, but I think you guys get the point. So here's my thing when it comes to explaining it. So when it comes to explaining on the cookware, guys, like actually how to use it, when I do Luciano's script here, you're going to notice I don't really teach them a whole lot like how to use it. It's just really focused on benefits. So if you want to prevent returns, here's something I would recommend you guys putting a note down for is number one, less is more. And number two is don't explain how to use it until they ask you. The sale is closed, but definitely before they leave. So do that one more time. Don't explain how to use it until they either ask, the sale is closed, but definitely before they leave. So at any of those three times, that's when you explain the cookware. That's when you explain all the extra little steps that go into it. I do it after everything's done. And I'd probably say 7 out of 10 times, I'm not explaining how to do all the steps until that credit card's in my hand. And so far, it's not like a new thing. It's worked for me. It works for Luge. I'd recommend it for you guys. Sometimes you get customers that want the details, and I teach them a little bit early on. And then sometimes they just never even ask because I think it's going to be like just a cakewalk. And then I definitely make sure to educate them before they walk away from the booth, obviously to prevent the returns. So let me go ahead and do the power intro for you. Someone comes up to the booth, they go straight for the cookware. They start playing with it, ask you questions, whatever. So here's the number one question you want to ask them before you get started, because they'll usually pick it up, and we all know the questions they get are like, "Hey, is this Cutco? Oh, you guys started making cookware now?" Those kinds of things. Like this is obviously new to them, and it's usually our past customers. So when someone comes up and they ask me like an opening question like that, my immediate response is number one, I act surprised that they haven't seen it or heard about it. I'd be like, yeah, that's Cutco. Wait, did you not know Cutco made cookware? Pots and pans, whatever you want to call it. It like piques their interest because now they feel like they should know about this already, which as a company, we're terrible at pruning our cookware. So hopefully that changes. So, anyways, I'm just going to run through it and then we'll explain afterwards. They pick up stuff. Oh my God, Cutco makes cookware now? We go, yeah, totally. Wait, did you not know that Cutco made pots and pans already? And they go, no, is this new? I'm like, no, we like the pots and pans have been around longer than the knives. Did you know that? And they go, they're always surprised, like, no, I didn't even know you guys made this stuff. That's crazy. Yeah, totally. I mean, do you mind if I take like 2 minutes and tell you about our pots and pans while you're here? Ask permission. They say yes. Great. Once I'm in the script, guys, because now I'm in script mode, is I always ask this question first is I go, hey, just curious, have you guys ever cooked on stainless before? And then regardless if they say yes or no, I'm just gonna follow up that question by saying, like, okay, cool. Yeah, good experience, bad experience, or what have you heard? Good experience, bad experience, or what have you heard? And what I'm doing is I'm bringing all the stigma to the surface about stainless steel. So again, if they've used cookware, stainless steel cookware before, that's going to resonate with hard. Even if they've never used stainless steel cookware before, there's a reason for that. And more times than not, I've noticed that people that haven't used stainless steel is because they've heard that it sucks. So it doesn't matter what they say, yes or no, but you want to follow up with always saying, have you heard? Is like, was it good experience, bad experience, or what have you heard? Okay. So now they're going to tell you it's either a sticking issue or a cleaning issue or both. You want that to come to light very early in the conversation so you can put that to the side and you can show them why this can be different for them. All right, so that's first bullet point. Second bullet point on the script afterwards is I immediately go, when they have a bad experience with cookware, I point at the knife set. I go, hey, so it's just like anything else. There's cheap knives, and then I point out our knife sets and I go, and then there's good knives. It's just like the same thing. There's cheap stainless, and then I point at our cookware and go, then there's good stainless. So what you're doing is you're isolating the cheap stainless from the good stainless. So that way that stigma starts to go away. It piques their interest why this is different. Okay, that's the second thing. The third thing is the little power intro. So this is like the nugget from Luciano. Let's go, cool. Here's the short version, Mrs. Jones. All of our pots and pans are 5 layers thick. So it distributes heat evenly. So it actually cooks close to a nonstick pan, but without the toxic coatings that are sprayed onto it. Now, because it's really thick, it retains heat similar to a cast iron. Not quite the same, but pretty close. So you can do chickens and ribeyes and steaks on it as well. The better part is that it's easy to clean and it's not going to be too heavy to where it's going to be like a workout every time you lift it up and down. You should be able to say all of that verbiage in less than 30 seconds. So I'll do that little blurb again. I'm just going to run it through. Hey, so just so you know the short version, it's 5 layers thick. So it distributes heat evenly. So it actually cooks like a nonstick pan, but without the toxic coatings that are sprayed onto it. Now, because of how thick it is, it retains heat really similar to a cast iron. Not quite the same, but pretty close. So you can still do chicken, steak, and ribeyes on that. And the best part is it's way easier to clean, and it's not like you're lifting for a workout every time you use it. That's it. That's all they care about. Is my shit gonna stick, and is it easy to clean? And by the way, guys, like again, this is just on the front end to like get them bought into the pans on theirs are obviously more premium and they cost more. But again, on the back end, when I get to that part of my talk here, you're going to see how I fix all the little holes and just in case they burn it, just in case something sticks, just in case something happens, That way I'm not over promising and under delivering. I'm not making it sound too good to be true. But once you say that little blurb right there, their interest is going to be an all-time high, and majority of the time they're going to start asking buying questions. Cool. Does this all make sense so far? Cool. Sounds good. Now, I do want to give praise to one of the people on this call real quick. I know there's some other people I should probably praise too, but I forgot to write them in my notes. I worked one shift with JC at the at Building B at the California State Fair, and I was really proud of him because he had a past customer. He had two past customers come up. First one came up, and he pitched him on cookware, and he took a long time, but he did close it. It was a small cookware set. I think it was an Aspiring, if I remember correctly. And so I sold him a small little starter cookware set, but he took a lot of words to do it. He immediately turned afterwards and he asked for feedback. And all I told him was, hey, you just need to focus on this. You don't need these many words. And I think I could be wrong here, JC, but from if I remember that conversation with you correctly, it was I basically just told you, like, hey, this is the power intro, like this is the 20-second deal. And then lo and behold, like an hour or two later, he had a separate PC come up and he spent less time with them. They never heard of Cutco cookware and he sold them a bigger set. So literally never heard of Cutco, spent less time with them and sold a bigger set versus the first past customer who he spent more time with, bought a smaller set and has heard of our cookware before. If that's not like the best example, I don't know what is. So I was really proud of him though, because he sold those two cookware sets that day. And obviously it was like a direct reflection of making adjustments. So good job on that too. Can happen for all of us. So here's the deal. Once the power intro is out there, guys, and they get into the buying stage mode, I probably don't need to teach any of you guys how to close because I do it probably just as well as all of you guys. You guys do it just as well as me. We explain how price works. We explain the package price. We explain the 5 pay, include the kitchen tool sets or everything. I'm sure you guys all have a price binder either from us or Vast Action or from somewhere else or from Danny. All of those are great binders. Just make sure you're focused on those packages, obviously. So this is typically the point when people ask you a question of, can I buy pieces or do they all come in sets? My response is yes and yes, but there's also another yes. And here's why I say this. So yes and yes, Mrs. Jones, but there's also a third yes. And they're like, what do you mean by that? So we can definitely sell them in pieces. We also sell them in prepackaged sets, but we also sell piece packages. And the term piece packages I learned from Matt Foss a few years ago on the knives, and it works for everything we do. So if you want to convert people from buying like a saucepan and a fry pan into like a 3 to 5 piece custom set, just call it a piece package. And so the reason why people ask that question is because they are probably already in their mind, they're already fixated on a few individual pieces in front of them. That's why they ask you that question. Can I buy them in pieces or do I have to buy it in a set? When people say, do I have to buy in a set? That's like resistant. Like, do I have to? It's like a child with mom. Do I have to, mom? That's where that comes from. I learned that from Curtis, by the way. I'm like, you know what? That actually makes a lot of sense. The way that customers ask questions, when you start learning the pattern of why they ask certain things in certain ways, is because what they really mean is something else. And when I caught on to that, I started realizing, oh, this is a customer that's telling me they would prefer to make their own set, but they don't know how to express that the right way. So just call it a piece package. Hopefully that is a little nugget for you guys. I sell a lot of 3 and 5 piece custom sets just when people ask me those questions. So just food for thought on that one. Something else I would recommend is that if you don't have a pre-packaged set in your book, whatever book that you're using, you need to have a 3-piece fry pan set with the kitchen tools. It just needs to be its own little section. You need to have a 3 saucepan set with a kitchen tool set in its own little section. Any type of customized quote unquote pre-packaged set piece packages that you can put into a binder, add it on a page, 1 or 2 pages in there. And I'll have customers that sometimes they wanted to buy 1 saucepan and 1 fry pan. Then I just flip the page and they go, oh, I like this. And they buy a fry pan set and then they add a saucepan, or they buy a saucepan set and then they add a 12-inch fry pan. But the kitchen tools are already built into it, which helps us out in, overall with the sale. And we also have a built-in drop down if we need to. Okay. So just a little extra nuggets there for you. Okay, let's get into talking about customer how-tos. So here's what I mean by this, guys. Before the customer leaves the booth, I spend an extra 1 to 2 minutes telling them about the 3 videos I'm going to text them before they go. Now, this is why I say the words before they go. I'm going to post in the group me, like I think I'm still in that one, the NorCal and Bay Area Premium Events group me, which I assume everyone here is a part of.
No, we got rid of that one. I will add you.
Cool. Sounds great. Yeah, add me to that one. And I'm going to share a couple of videos in there here at the end. So the 3 videos I send are this. For one, I always send them first the 1 minute video from Cutco, like it's on their YouTube channel, the one that shows how to make a fried egg and how it slides out. It's basically a highlight reel. I wish Cutco made more videos like this. It would help a lot, but I stumbled across it on YouTube one day and it's like one of the best videos they ever made. So I text them that video and I tell them it's a 1 minute video that's going to show them the everything that I told them. You preheat, you do this, you do that, and then everything comes out. It's a really impressive video. The second video I'm going to send you is going to be a more detailed, like a live explanation. It's about 8 minutes and it's Josh Mueller. It's his old video from over a decade ago. It's still effective, where he just walks through step by step in a live cooking demo on how to actually do a fried egg without sticking. So I tell him if you want a more detailed explanation, this is the one I would recommend watching, on top of the other one, obviously. And then third and last video I tell him is a 13-minute video, which is the Jason Jeffrey one we should all know by now, is the one with the making a 3-course meal in a saucepan. I know it's like technically a 9-inch utility pan, but whatever, it's a makeshift saucepan. And that one I send them because it's just really impressive. You can do raw chicken, stuff it with vegetables, and only have one pan to clean. And I promote all 3 of those videos. I immediately type in their cell phone. And if it's a husband and a wife, a couple or whatever, I type in both of their phone numbers. And then I just copy paste them because they're in my notes on my phone. Like I have a notes tab that's called Cutco Videos. And I just copy and paste those 3 links and I immediately text them before they go. And I confirm they received them. Like, hey, I'm going to text you these videos. Let me know before you go. Let's confirm that you got them so I know you can watch them before you receive your pans. And then they'll sit there and look at their phone and wait. And all of a sudden it's like ding, ding, ding. And they get all these text messages come through. They're like, yep, I got them. I'm like, all right, cool. Make sure to watch those before your pans come in. If you have any problems, just let me know. Guys, spend the extra 1 to 2 minutes to make sure that that's accomplished. It's going to help you a ton from just in general from getting returns. And you got to train your customers to watch it before your pans come in. They're at an all-time high right now with excitement. So make sure that they watch those videos. Okay. Next thing I do before you leave, because remember, I said to prevent this kind of stuff, you got to explain how to use it either when they ask, when the sale is closed, but definitely before they leave. So at any point in time when this comes up, you got to give customers proper expectations of the first time using it. I have a folder in my phone just for the pans, and I call it the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's mostly ugly. And what I mean by this, guys, is, and I'll post a couple of these pictures that I use so you guys can save them and put them into an album for yourself, is I actually show them all the burned pans that I've gotten from like just customers, interactions, from groupies that get shared over the years and stuff. And I show that to them. I'm like, hey, just so you know, this is the worst case scenario. And I'll show them like a fry pan with like a burnt center, you know, and that's gonna be like if that's on a non, like good freaking luck trying to get that back to normal again. But what I do is I slide through it and I show them how like the next picture is barkeeper's friend, the next picture is a steel wool with some water in it and stuff, and then the last picture is them getting it shiny again. And what you're doing is you're building so much trust through honesty and transparency that our cookware is not perfect. It's not meant to be perfect, but it's the best, in my opinion, on the market. So you're showing them the good, the bad. You've told them about the good, they know about the bad, and they've seen the ugly now. And so I show it to them so that way they can see it and everything and how it's like, even if you burn it, it's okay. You can reset it. And I have a couple other pictures that I'll share as well so you guys can save it. There was a pan that I remember seeing a picture of that was over 30 years old and it was brown on the bottom. And then someone took barkeeper's friend with a scrubber on a service call and they cleaned it, but they did a great before and after picture. So you can literally see it side by side. Half of it is before cleaning and the other half has been just cleaned. And it's like night and day difference. And when you show that to a customer, especially when you're trying to close, like if you need to pull this ace out of your back pocket, that picture has saved me from people saying I'm going to think about it to actually making a decision to buy it because that picture is really impressive. So I'll show you guys that too. So in a couple of decades, when their cookware doesn't look very nice anymore, you can still make it shiny again. It's pretty nice. I know our cookware is awesome, our knives are great, our flatware is sexy and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, guys, people are gonna spend a lot of money. It needs to look good, just straight up. So I'll kind of touch on some more points that here in just a little bit. But give proper expectations. After you show the ugly pictures, let them know that this is probably going to be them the first few times they use it, and that's okay. They're going to be like everybody else. So just follow the steps that I gave you. And by the way, guys, 90% of the customers never call me about it. Every once in a while, I'll get someone that calls me about it, like, hey, I accidentally burned something. Remind me how to do this again. And then we fix it and they're good. I haven't gone to someone's house to teach them how to use it in years. I haven't had to because I don't really want to drive back to their house to like show them how to use, it, especially if they live far away to try and save a cookware sale. So just get really good on the front end, explaining how to do it the right way, show them the transparency of what can happen, what likely will happen to them. And as long as you train them right and know and reassure them that you're here in their corner, you're good. And you don't have to worry about it. Next thing here. Okay. CTR a barkeeper's friend and recommend a steel wool. So when you have someone buying the pants from you the first time, I know we have access to the barkeeper's friend, like little bottle. So just do it as like a thank you. Make sure to tell customers like, hey, since this is your first time buying the pans, your first barkeeper's friend is on me. They're super grateful for that. They love that. I've had people add on something from their wish list just because I added barkeepers from there, even though it cost me like $5, $10, whatever it is nowadays. I just go in and CTR that stuff and then I send it along with their cookware order. And it's just good for them to have. So it's one less trip they need to worry about going to HEB or you guys don't have HEB, wherever you guys do grocery store shopping. So, and then make sure to recommend them a steel wool. Wool works great on our pans. If you ever have a customer say like, do the pans scratch? I tell them yes. Like, of course, Miss Jones, they can definitely scratch. It's stainless steel. Any stainless steel can scratch. Now, the beautiful thing is that even if you accidentally scratch our pans, it doesn't affect the performance of them at all. Now, I stole this next line from Josh Mueller back in the day, which I think is really good. He's like, Miss Jones, it's like farm equipment. It's like a heavy duty grill, heavy duty fridge. In a couple of decades, it's not going to look as pretty as it was when it's brand new, but it's still going to work the same way because it's quality stuff. So you're trying to basically frame their expectations properly of, hey, you're going to scratch it, and when you scratch it, it's still going to work, unlike most other pans that are coated. I have a couple of last points here, and then if we have any questions, I'm more than welcome to answer them, or if I need to repeat any of these points. Next one here is having a quality display. One of the things I was really happy to see at the California State Fair is you guys, both booths had a great display set up. If you want to sell more sets, you need legacy sets. Get the 4-quart saucepan, get the griddle. By the way, I still put the griddle out. I have a bunch of pre-orders that are locked and loaded, ready to go. I learned that from Josh too at a show in May when we were working together. I used to take my griddle out of my display because I thought it was gonna, ruin a sale or make it weird or I can't sell it right now. And he told me, he's like, nah, dude, you just need to do these things. Just don't bring it up unless it's asked. And when the sale is over, make sure to let them know the grill's on. So we're not going to charge them for the griddle right now, but they'll be first in line. So the second we get it announced, I'll send you a text and I'll charge you for the griddle. That's it. So I have 8 griddles locked and loaded that are post-stated orders ready to go when that griddle comes back as well. And I actually sold a legacy cookware set at that show, ironically. And the only thing he didn't get was the griddle, but he knows I'm going to charge him for it the second that it comes out. So if you're not putting your griddle out right now, I'd still recommend doing so. Okay. So there's that. Oh, this is like one of my biggest pet peeves when I'm at the booth is don't stack your fry pans on top of each other. That is something I did notice at the booth, and this is like very common in a lot of areas. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but when you stack the fry pans, it's the most common thing that people come over and want to play with. So imagine picking up that 8-inch fry pan that's sitting on top of that 10-inch, which is sitting on top of that 12-inch. And people are picking it up or kids playing with it or moving it around or whatever. Those scratches are permanent. And if you have somebody who's never seen our cookware before and they lift a pan and they see a bunch of scratches on it, I don't know about you guys, that doesn't exactly help our case here. So you need to put yourself in the best position possible. Get a little rack. There's like 1,000 racks on Amazon you can get. Like I have one, LA and Danny has seen me use this before. I have this little this little rack that's really good because I can fit 3 saucepans on one side. Then I can put the 12-inch skillet with the cover with the 3 fry pans right above it. It saves so much table space and none of them touch each other. And it elevates it, which makes it look more premium. And then you can put more business gifts on the outside, which is what we really want to do. Okay. So there's that stuff. Okay. Last thing. If you can't get the sale done today, then you need to become a pro at pre-selling the cookware. I assume you guys have heard that term pre-selling before, but essentially you're just really locking them up for a sale for the next time you talk to them. It's ironic that I'm giving this message because I had 2 things happen at my show this past weekend, which by the way, I didn't do well. It just wasn't a good year. We sucked. Me and Joseph just got shellacked. And so I remember going out there and selling what I sold. And I had one lady on Saturday. I was trying to work out a package deal. It didn't close. It was a past customer of mine. So I'm probably assuming she's going to get this later, but I didn't get it done today. And part of it was cookware. And then she left. She didn't come back that day. The very next day, I get a contact from my rep portal email. And the lady in the comments, totally different lady, said, "Hey Dante, I think I'm ready to get the pots and pans and the silverware. Give me a call anytime." And so I pick up that phone fast and like I give her a call. And this was a lady who apparently I pre-sold her. I promoted the flatware and the pots and pans last time I met with her, which was about a year and a half ago. And she wasn't ready then, but she's ready now. And because I did the work a year and a half ago, she bought it this time. And it was the package, it was like 3,500, 3,600 CPO or something like that. But that's a nice little phone order to get. And so it's really ironic that I'm again talking about this because of what that one lady was on Saturday. Maybe in a year and a half, she'll pull the trigger and buy her package deal from me. But it's really ironic a year and a half ago, I pitched this to this lady and now she pulled the trigger and bought it. And here we are today. So the pre-selling concept I've learned from a few different reps, mostly from Bert and Seth. Bert gets an obnoxious amount of people that walk up, what feel like walk up cookware sets, but it's because over the last 3, 5, 7 years, he at all of his shows that he does, he's so good at pre-selling the cookware, knowing it's not going to get done today. And then all those events that he works, it's like it just feels like walk-ups. And now I'm finally getting to that point too, where I work the same event for 3+ years, and I'm getting those people that just walk up, whether it's me or one of my teammates, and they're like, "Hey, I've been thinking about these pots and pans. Dante showed me them 2, 3, 4 years ago. I think I'm ready to bite the bullet and do it. What do you got?" And like I'll have like accomplished, dedicated legacy cookware sets written up for me at some fair that I'm working from one of my teammates because it was like they walked up. I shouldn't say it's like maybe quite that simple, but it's pretty close based on what people tell me. So I'm just trying to be like Bert and Seth if I can't get the deal done today, trying to pre-sell it for the future. Okay. Let me make sure I covered all my notes here. Oh, what plan? Oh yeah, and really the little sub nugget on that one is just make sure to take the philosophy, especially when it comes to the pans guys, is that you can't just focus on selling today. We obviously are salespeople and we're going to do our best. But the reality is, if we're building what we call a business, then you have to be good at selling for tomorrow. And selling for tomorrow means that customers leave your booth feeling good about not buying everything you showed them, aka the pots and pans, but they feel good about their interaction with you. So that way, when they see you in the future, or they think of you, or they're ready, you just get those random $3,000 cookware sets that get sent your way, or come up to your booth, or send you an email from your portal ready to pull the trigger this time. So I know that was a lot of info. It was like 40 minutes of stuff. So I'll go ahead and pause it there. I'm open for questions if there are any, but I really appreciate you guys bringing me out, and I'm glad I'm able to provide some value to you guys to help you guys with your pots and pans selling. So that's it.
Awesome. We have about 5 minutes if anyone has questions for Dante.
Can I ask a question?
Go for it.
Hey Dante, um, I wanted to ask, I've been selling a lot of cookware this year, and I'm definitely pushing a lot more. And what I've seen recently is I've been selling a lot of like singles because I'm doing a good job of selling them on the idea. But I'm selling more like skillets and fry pans recently than I'd like to. So I was curious, like, what tips you'd have to ensure that they're getting sets more often than just a piece.
You treat it the same as anything else. So how would you do it when it comes to a can opener, right? If someone walks up and buys a can opener and you know they don't have most of the gadgets or any of the other gadgets, if your process is the same as that as it is with the pots and pans, then I think you just follow the formula that works. Now I know the pans are more expensive, but in this situation, what I would do when someone walks up and let's say they buy one saucepan when it's all done, I take the credit card, I build a rapport, and then I ask the leading questions. And I'm sure we all do the same leading questions or pretty close to it. Hey, just curious. And I learned this from Foss. I was like, hey, just curious. Not saying you need to get anything else today, but I like to keep a list on file for you. So that way in the future, when you're ready for it, I can definitely keep track of what's the next thing the next time we meet up. And then what you're doing is you're getting their guard down, and then they'll just give you all the information, basically all the ammo. So let's say this interaction happens and I say that. They'll say something along the lines of, yeah, I definitely would want probably the 10-inch fry pan, the skillet with the cover, another saucepan. Like they'll just list random pieces, right? And what I'll do is that all into the app. I have their credit card, everything's locked and loaded. I put it all in there to see what it is, and I go, okay, cool. Well, just curious, because it sounds like if you're going to get this eventually anyways, we do offer a piece package program when it comes to the pots and pans, just like the knives, where I might be able to get you a sweet deal if you do a few more different things today. Just for fun, do you mind if I just show you what it would look like if you wanted to get those extra pieces and just make it a set? And then if they say yes, get a deal done. And it doesn't have to be anything crazy. Throw in a free turn and serve, throw in a free piece from the kitchen tool set. I don't know about you guys, but I use the single pieces from the kitchen tool sets a lot as free items when it comes to selling cookware. I'll include the bake and serve stuff. Like, hey, they can get a turn and serve, professional spatula, a slice and serve. The slice and serve doesn't hit as much for the pots and pan stuff, but you get the point I'm trying to make. Just follow the formula. Even though it costs more, you still want to follow the right steps. You wouldn't do that with one knife, I hope, right? Like if someone buys one chef's knife, that's not the end all be all. You would do a step process, a formula to get them up into a 5 piece. And if they're buying a 5 piece, I would hope you would try and upsell them into a set. So that would be my advice. Just follow the formula. Pots and pans are no different than anything else,
Cool. I see what I'm doing wrong. Thanks, Dante.
for sure. That's a Brandonism, by the way. When I was coaching with Brandon like 5 years ago and we were talking about this, that was something he was really big about.
Awesome. Anybody else?
I'm excited to hear from? Danny. Danny, you got a cookware question for me? I'm ready. When I stay at your house in Houston sometime, I'm ready for us to make eggs together. It's gonna be beautiful.
No, that's all good stuff. It's it was interesting for you to be shorter. Like you said, I like the concentrating on the benefits, you know what I'm saying? And using it that way and getting to where you're discussing the clothes and what they're going to order rather than it's a long pitch, because that's where I would get lost, is just really going into detail over you know names and uses and this and that and blah blah blah. The one that I use a lot, like with you, is just it's always about the preheat. I just tell them you don't go to your grill, lift your grill and slap on cold meat, right? That was the main thing. And it just kind of the light goes off in their head and then goes from there. And then that's it, man. It's just about figure out what's going to serve their kitchen and their needs and their whatever. But a lot of my sales this year have been at least the frying pans or sauce pans rather than just one pieces. And then everybody else just always buys a set. So
Yeah.
that's how my cookware orders the size of them, but like, let's try one, and then if we like it, blah blah blah. No, it's just the way that they're set up now, and the way that it is. It's just like, hey, everything is at least, the 3 frying pans, the saucepans. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, that's been good. That's it,
Good.
man.
I'm gonna bring a fry pan to your house in Houston and we're gonna make stuff together.
Bro,
I'm excited.
please, man, I can't afford that stuff. I'm poor, bro.
Shut the hell up.
I gotta pay all these coordinator fees and shit like that, dude. That's why I'm broke, dude.
I'm muting you. Yeah. There is one. I know we're right at 4 o'clock, but I feel like it's important. Can I just mention one thing about how to handle the hexclad thing?
Absolutely.
Okay. So you guys get hexclad as much as I do, I'm sure. And when those people come up and say, I have hexclad or something positive about hexclad, if you guys haven't been taught how to handle the hexclad stuff, I'll just give you like the bullet points because it's not that hard, but it does happen a lot. The first thing you do is immediately you can't shut that down right away. When people come up and be like, "Oh, I love my hexclad. Have you seen it? Oh, hexclad, hexclad." You can't, like how we get trained with the knives, you can't immediately trash hexclad. We know hexclad. They're great at marketing. They're great at a lot of stuff. They kicked our butt in marketing for sure, and getting Gordon Ramsay on board with everything definitely helped their sales. So here's the stuff that you guys need to do. Number one, you need to acknowledge the fact that they have some of the best coated pans that they can have. Like when you put coating pans on a ranking system, they're near the top. Like they promote the whole concept of coating and stainless, but you get the benefits of both worlds. Here's the deal, guys. A coated pan is a coated pan. It's going to flake off. If you guys have ever bought a hexclad pan yourself and used it, in a couple of years, it does flake. And once it flakes, it's like everything else. So here's what I'm trying to make. When someone brings it up, acknowledge it. Number one, don't get defensive. Don't be combative or anything. Number two is you want to pique their interest by saying this line. It's like, cool. It's like, hey, you have hexclad? Awesome. Great. Da, 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 da. Hey, I just want to make sure that you have all the information. Have you seen the stuff that just settled recently? And you say it like that. Have you seen the stuff that they've settled recently? And a lot of them, almost all of them, they're going to say something along the lines of, what do you mean? And then that's when you go, shoot, this is literally word for what I say is like, hey, this is like my least favorite part of the job. Like a big thing for us is like not to throw like other companies and products under the bus. But I would feel like I'm not doing my job if I didn't make sure you had all the information. And what I do is I pull up my phone, I go into Google, and you just Google hexclad lawsuit or hexclad class action. And what AI will pull up, guys, it just gives the summary of the class action that they've been in for a couple of years. It just got settled for a couple $1 million. It was under false advertising claims. You can go into the weeds and read all the details of it, but a lot of the stuff they promoted about not flaking, non-toxic, all that stuff, it was ruled as to be not accurate, like not truthful. And what I've noticed is that whenever I take the phone out, like I don't say that. I'm just saying, hey, I hate this part of my job, but I just want to make sure you have all the right information. You Google it, you show it to them, and then they read it for a second. And you'd be surprised how many you can just tell their vibe kind of changes towards hexclad. And then that sometimes will open the door into looking at our pans. Not all the time, but some of the times they will immediately start looking over at the pans and start asking you buying questions or tell me about this. It's really easy to handle. It doesn't have to be a big deal. Some people are diehard, they don't care. Just transition away from the pan, sell them on the knives or something after that. But I just want to make sure you guys know, since it is a problem, it's an objection that comes up pretty frequently nowadays. You got to be the right words and way of handling it. So that's how I handle it. It's worked really well for me. I've converted a handful of people over to Cutco pans right afterwards. I'll share that in the group me as well, guys, because I have a picture from a customer this summer when I did a service call at their house that he bought pans for me because he just bought hexclad about 1.5 years ago. And he pulled one of them down from his rack and he's like, all my pans look like this. And like the outside rim is all flaking. And so now it's in my folder. So when people bring up hexclad, I show them the picture. So yeah, that's all I got.
I am really glad you brought that up. I actually had a client tell me that they've been trying to reach the company for 6 months, trying to get their stuff replaced under the warranty. and I was getting no response via email, phone call. They've tried different avenues of reaching out to the company.
Yep.
Here's the thing with like HexCloud. If you just look on their website, it's like any lifetime warranty. It's on manufacturer defects only. And that's what I tell my clients straight up. Like, I love the concept. It's super cool in theory. But if you just look on their website, lifetime, you know?
Yeah, it's accurate. And I think it would be even, you can even take that a step further, and you could just, instead of telling them, you could literally just have it, just Google it and know exactly where to find it on the web page, and then just show it, hand them your phone and let them read it. Be like, yeah, manufacturing defects. Anytime that you can show a customer something versus tell a customer something is more powerful, because you won't come off as biased. I'm not saying that that's going to happen often, JC, but you get what I'm trying to say?
Absolutely. No, I have like so many saved screenshots of HexCloud pans from Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah.
Because so many people try selling them. And if you look, you just zoom in, there's all like the rims gone. They're all flaked off.
Yeah, it's a real thing. So anyways, I know I went over my time, so I apologize for that, guys. I appreciate you guys sticking out through it. But yeah, I appreciate you guys having me here, and hopefully I get to work with you guys in the future. And if it's a one-off year, I'm all happy with that. And if not, I hope to see you guys in the future, and we'll play it by ear, year to year.
Thanks for being here, Dante. We appreciate your time and for a lot of really good nuggets for the cookware.
Guys, I wish you guys the best. And do you still need me here, Denise, or am I good to go?
I think you're good to go.